Hi guys, what's up? I'm Chris Lato. Welcome to the channel. Today's just a quick video on UAP tactics. So basically how to video or capture, if you will. I'm not trying to capture any UAPs, but we do want to capture evidence, right? That's been the biggest thing. Like all these debates I've had with Mick West and going online. I mean, what do we really want from the government is disclosure of information, right? That's what we want, more evidence. Just more evidence to try and figure out what's going on, what these things are, why they're here. I feel like everyone's just waiting for the government to like give us handouts of information. And I think, it's shown in the past that it's been difficult for the government, maybe impossible. If it is really extraterrestrial life, then this is going to be about all of humanity, not the specific U.S. government. So what I want to talk about this video is really about the training. Joe Scott, he holds up his phone, he says, he makes the argument that if everyone has an amazing camera in their pocket, why don't we have more videos online? And the argument is that we do have tons of videos. If you search UAP videos, there's tons of videos. I have subscribers, OVNI, all these amazing videos posted daily about UAPs. The problem is, can we trust them, right? You can have deep fakes on there now. Deep fake technologies really come along. So how do we trust these videos online and how do we get more data? So that's really what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Thanks to my Patreons, as always. You guys are awesome. Thanks for all your support. I really appreciate it. If you want to join the team, become a Patreon. You can do that for as low as $1 a month, cheapest I can make it. That's at patreon.com, Chris Lato. But really just being here and watching with an open mind is the best form of support. But like the video if you do. If you like this content, it tells me, which direction to go with the channel as well. So thanks again for being here. Let's get to the video. Today's video will be more on the tactics, how you can better film a UAP or UAP event, right? They happen so rare that we've seen, but they still happen if there's billions of people on the planet. Like Joe Scott says, if there's so many people out there with cell phones, why don't we get better video? Why isn't there better video on the net? Tons of videos, high def videos. And well, the first thing is these things apparently don't want to be videoed. Okay, if it doesn't just show up right outside your house and you have a little iPhone, it's gonna be difficult to video. But there's tons of efforts going on at all different levels around the world. I feel like we're kind of in a position where we're just waiting. We're kind of waiting on a handout from the government. We're putting all this pressure on Lou Elizondo and these guys just go and like force the government to kind of release this information, which I think they should. Right? But at the end of the day, the government, if they're being truthful, which they easily could be, are saying that they don't know what these things are. So even if that's the case, however you look at this, we need more evidence, right? We need more evidence. So how do we get more evidence? That's what I've been focused on recently. There's some definite efforts going around the World Sky Hub. I'll talk through that shortly. But what I think we can all do better is just be better filmographers or videographers, if you will. And so I had a subscriber contact me. Nigel Benton's his name. He's from the UK. And he filmed a UAP back in 2006. And he wrote on one of my videos, hey, Chris, what do I do if I have this video? What should I do with it? And I said, hey, are you comfortable just putting it on YouTube? And then we can check it out. Everybody can check it out. And so he did. And he made this awesome video, really amazing video. I think it's great. So I wanted to highlight what he did that was good and that made it more effective for later research. And then if just one more person had done what Nigel did on this day here, then we would have triangulated data. So the biggest killer in the Iraq war on the insurgent side and in Afghanistan was from IEDs. So they said by the end of 2007, at least 63% of coalition deaths in Iraq were from improvised explosive devices. They were also used in Afghanistan by insurgent groups. It caused over 66% of coalition casualties. So, most of your deaths, almost 7 out of 10 casualties in Afghanistan were caused by these improvised explosive devices. Okay, so it wasn't by some fancy device. They got some new advanced weapon back for the Soviets. They gave the Stingers, right? The U.S., CIA, whoever it was, sold Osama bin Laden, of all people, Stinger missiles, right? So that's your advanced systems. But if you look here, that's not what they were using, right? So what was really most effective against us, against our super advanced technology, was these IEDs, okay? And it's just, and the point is, it's just simple and super effective and everywhere, okay? So that's what I would like to bring to the UAP hunting world, if you will. I guess UAP hunting is probably the wrong word. We just want to capture evidence. We want to capture more evidence. So UAP evidence capturing world is probably a better name. And the point is just simple, effective, but correct tactics really do make a difference. And this is probably the biggest misunderstanding the civilian world has on the military. I get asked a lot, like, what do you do? What's a fighter pilot do on a normal day? And it's really just training super, super hard. And it makes a big difference. Actually, training makes a huge difference, especially in rare events. You think combat is really rare, so you're not prepared for it mentally in your normal life. So when you come across it, when you impact, when you're in a combat environment, it really helps if you have training. And that's what we've learned over 100 years. That's why we created the Red Flag program initially in the Air Force, where now you have a Red Force that's training the Blue Force. So we focused on training, and it really drastically reduced our casualties from after Vietnam. That's really when we learned that issue. So what works is just simple, but operationally effective. Okay, operationally effective. This reminded me of in the Air Force, when I was at Luke Air Force Base, we worked on live virtual constructive. And this is a type of training to bring into the military. Everybody wants it, right? You don't want to have to fly other real planes to train your planes against. The best would be to simulate it. Just make a simulated plane, right, against your real training planes. The problem is it's very difficult to execute with security, sharing information. You don't want to share all your data information out on the web, etc. So we just haven't really been able to make it happen. And I think over 20 years, the whole time I was in the military, it was still hadn't been fully implemented, even with millions and millions of dollars. Someone called me on the phone and said, yeah, hey, Otis, if you had $10 million, could you make this LVC system? And I said, no, well, what do you need? Basically, I just needed them to remove the bureaucracy, right? Just to pull away all the stuff that's stopping us from just doing this simple, effective plan, which we had off-the-shelf equipment already there, and all we had to do was populate the net with it, which we did ultimately. But it didn't take extra money. It didn't take some fancy system. Okay, there is that. I think the government should be working on that. But my point is, just like we saw firsthand, painfully, simple, effective tactics work. And everybody has a cell phone, right? For the most part. A lot of people have additional cameras, right? So you have an additional camera at home. This is going to be excellent. Okay, so this is what I would use to capture UAP if I could. So let's go through this video. I had an amazing video. A subscriber wrote me one of the videos, Nigel, and he said, hey, Chris, I have this video from 2006 that I took of UAP. What should I do with it? And I thought about it, like, what would I want him to do with it? I want him just to post it to YouTube. He didn't have a YouTube channel, but I said, hey, Nigel, it's pretty easy. If you're comfortable, just post your video there. And he made an amazing video, really went through, I'll just go through it quickly, show you the points on why it's good, even as it is, and how you could do the same in the future, and me as well. Okay, so I went and charged my DSLR. I made sure it was charged and ready to go. So let's look through Nigel's video. I really like this one. It's on YouTube now. Let's see. Let's refresh. How many views it's got? 21 views still. Okay, he just went public, but he made a great presentation here. So 24th of August, 2006, daylight UAP. So he goes through here. He gives the location, okay, which is obviously important. What do we really need for this is we need the location of the camera, as close as you can get it or you're comfortable sharing, and the time, okay? He'll show you how he gets the time, and then as much videoing as you can take, right? It's not going to be easy. These things are up there for many, many minutes, but the longer video you can get, then the better, okay? So he runs through, he's basically outside, he's working from home, he's outside, he's laying on the next to his, his backyard. I don't know if he has a pool or not, but he's looking upside and he sees this funny light, okay? And he goes inside, he decides to film it. And you see here, so he grabs his mini handy cam and then he zooms in, and sure enough, man, looks just like the white balls, the white orbs, right there, 2006. And he zooms in, but you see it's not so easy, right? And it's not so easy to hold it there. And watching this video, you really see that it's more difficult than everyone seems to think, okay, to identify something. So you have to be ready. You have to be ready, okay? So first thing he did is he had the camera. He had his camera charged. He says that I ran inside. I saw, luckily, my mini DV, my Sony Minicam essentially was charged. Luckily, it was charged. So that's step one. Is like you have to be ready. You have to be ready for all these things. You know, you're going to be surprised when you go into combat. That's the reason we've done it thousands of times. You're going to be ready to have some crazy shit happen, right? So just always being ready is very important, you know, because when you see these things, I think I'll talk to Nigel. I'm actually going on the show, Vinny's Disclosure Team, tonight, Saturday, and Nigel said he's going to be on there as well. So we'll have Nigel on there talking through how he made this video. But the biggest thing is I know he was ready and ran out there, and then you can watch along. Excellent job there. He has the presence of mind there. So it kind of reminds me of training. I'm going to ask him if he thought of this before. Okay, but he videos it, and then without stopping the video, he leans in, looks into his house, and gets the time off the wall, right? I think the best time, if you have another phone or your friends is there or something and they're not filming, okay, I would ask them to film from a little bit further away. Okay, ask them to move slightly offset, and then just film something, you know, like film something that can date stamp it with a time and a date. And that's it, right? Just get a date stamp in there, get a time to prove it. And if it's something that we're videoing now, it's going to be just that much harder to fake. Okay, so he has the presence of mind. He looks inside and he gets the time. So what Nigel did again in the video, presence of mind, is he established a reference point. So you'll see in the video he actually looks at this part of his roof, and then he scans slowly up right to the UAP. So we can go back. You can look at the trees. You can look at the houses. You know, as we scan up through this video. Now I think it just makes it more accurate. We have the location, the time, and now as he's doing that scan, we can approximate the angle, that angle up, you know, that maybe you've seen in my other videos. So just quick timestamp, you know, what time is it? There's a building or some landmark, and now I'm going to scan to the thing, and now just sit there for as long as you can. Okay, as long as you can take it. And he does, his neck ends up hurting. I'm sure it's not so easy. And that's it. That's it, right? That's really all he had to do. He was ready. Okay, he was ready. That's probably the biggest thing. He's ready to do it. So when it happened, he ran out there, he started videoing. He had the presence of mind to get a time stamp, excellent, and a location stamp with the ground and the horizon. So just get the ground and the horizon so we can get a rough estimate of the angle. And then from there now, we get one data point. And really with just two data points. So if anyone else now happened to be filming this thing that day and has the video, even now, they could post it onto YouTube. And if they had just those two things, right, the time and the location, right, reference to the ground, now we can triangulate, right, from Nigel's house, from somebody else's house. And now with that triangulation, now we can ID where this thing is, okay? Because it's not so easy. As he shows at the end, he's actually he lives under a airline route. And so at the very end, what happens is an airplane flies behind it and he falls a jet to it. Exactly. It's difficult to find objects out there when you're flying around trying to find targets. So I know exactly what he's talking about. And this is what you do. You follow one jet to the other. So he did exactly what I would do in a fighter, right? Because even when you see something, it's hard to get your sensor onto it. It's very difficult. So you'll notice in this film, in this YouTube video, he has a lot of issues just trying to get his film on there. And this is normal, right? If you try and do that. But he follows the airliner on there, and the airliner takes him right to the target. Okay, so this is another technique. If you're trying to find one plane that's merging with another, follow one of them to the target. Okay, or to the merge. But so here now we can give some better referencing. I think it tells me that the UAP is closer than the aircraft, although we can't be sure, right? But as soon as we got another point, boom, now we know within some rough uncertainty volume where this thing is. And now if we know how far away it is, now we can size it because he says what camera's on there as well. So now we know field of view like you saw, and we can size it. And that's just two, okay? So if you look at some of these crazy events like Phoenix Lights or thousands of people saw them, if you can get more than 30, okay, if we can get 20, 30, 40, 100 videos, I mean, think about that. If you get 100 videos of just one event, now we will have documented evidence, because it does make a difference how much evidence you have. Quantity is a quality of its own when it comes to evidence. So statistical analysis, we need 30 data points. That's your normal statistical analysis. You know, for any major survey or something, they need at least, that's the minimum, 30 data points. And then from there, the way the statistical math all works is we can do, according to how our understanding of statistics works, we can do statistical analysis and make sure we can essentially prove or show that it's very, very unlikely that this is like an airplane or some other thing. So we can use simple tactics, okay? Simple tactics to really, really improve our evidence. And we don't need better systems, okay? We don't always need better systems. Just is the easy way out. Of course, it's better to have an iPhone that just does everything you need, okay? But if you don't have that, then there are many other ways to get stuff done. And a lot of times it's just the simple mass way, okay? We couldn't beat IEDs. We just could not beat them no matter what we try, however many different techniques we use, tactics, technology, anything. They could also adapt, okay? They're just very smart. So simple really is effective. It really is. And just getting more documented evidence is, I think, would benefit everyone. And it would make it very difficult for anyone to say that it's false. Okay, you can CGI one video, sure, but okay, now CGI 34. That all happened to match. Okay, so I think this really would be effective. I really think this would be effective. Okay, but let's look at some other projects going on. This is Skyhub. Skyhub, I've heard about this. I've been working with Martin in Denmark, UAPR. Skyhub is very interesting to me. It has been having some issues, is from my understanding, and a lot of the reason is just funding, okay? But this is the general idea. So you can buy your own tracker. So this is Skyhub. So you can monitor the sky, apply AI, and then store anomalies in the cloud. So that is the idea. You would basically pay to build this tracker, okay? It would just sit out there. It's linked. It has like Wi-Fi connections. It has a fisheye lens that will point the PTZ tracker, okay? And this is where maybe we put FLIR on there, or maybe you put an optical zoom. So we can build it to our own specifications. I think going not-for-profit is the wrong way to go, and that's my own personal opinion, and that's based on my own beliefs, okay? That the corporate level, so the companies that are the dimensional level above, I believe they run on free cash. So companies need free cash to survive. It's like oxygen for us, if you think about that. So the analogy, I think, just works, but I just think it's a very direct analogy, is that companies, corporations, they need free cash to survive. They have to have cash. It's like oxygen. So as soon as they don't have cash, boom, they die, okay? Combine that with personality conflict, et cetera, and no one's making a lot of money. All of a sudden, it's very, very difficult to run a company, right? But as soon as something is profitable, even if it's terrible for everyone, it happens, right? It really does. It takes the government, it takes coordinated effort to come in and actually stop something from happening if it's profitable, right? If it's profitable. So that's what I would like to do is try and make this more profitable in other ways. And so hopefully we can get more, and that would allow it to propagate into the future to make science profitable. I know that the scientific community is against that, making science profitable, but you know what? I'm tired of watching so many sports. I love sports, but I just think our money, our effort, our heroes should be the astronauts that are going out there. You know, our heroes should be people pushing the boundaries of science and knowledge. It shouldn't just be people who can play sports really well. I totally respect them. I really do. I watch sports. I love sports. I play sports. But it shouldn't be the focus. It shouldn't be making more money than science. Okay, so that's all. So this Skyhub system, super interesting. I really hope it succeeds, but I know it's difficult, and they're going for the kind of an iPhone solution, which is great. Okay, final point I want to show here is it all overlaps. So if you look, this is from Skyhub. Why we're doing this. Today's consumer grade technology is finally cheap enough to assemble our own network of smart sensors to capture the digital signature of UAPs. This is totally correct. 100% agree with this without a doubt, okay? But we can do it easily with systems we have, and it integrates, okay? So these Skyhub systems, right? So this one's in Houston. This one's always going, from what I understand. So this is it's just sitting there staring up. This is like a fisheye, I believe in IR is what it said. And so in Houston now, if you have Skyhub systems or similar systems scattered throughout the US or the world essentially, now when you take a video, so if Nigel, if he lived in Houston, for instance, and he was in Houston on this day and happened to be looking up and he saw this UAP, okay, if you look here, it's actually this very interesting video. This is the moon, I believe. Moon and Venus, and then this is a helicopter flying around over here. You can see the heat going, and then there's just this flashing dot, and it ends up stopping here, and then it just flies off. I mean, very interesting. But there's just one video. But this is one video. Now, if we have other videos from 2020, May 27th, 10:31, right, with this timestamp, if we know the location of this, which we should, you just contact Skyhub. Now we have 2 videos, right? So if Nigel lived in Houston and did the same thing he just did, now we would have 2 videos. And if you had more than that, now we have 1 event immediately. You know, this is key evidence. If you have over 30 evidence, we can statistically show it can't be something else. That's pretty compelling. So I think that's what I would do, is train the populace. Okay, so think about it. If you're interested in this and you're tired of the government not giving you information, well, this is how we can get our own. Seriously, it can work. So everybody, thanks for watching. Quicker video this week. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Very interested in that Skyhub system. I'm working on that. I would love to put that into space on a satellite funded by NFT technology. That'll be up for a later video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, guys. It tells me what you're interested in. If you don't like it, that also counts as engagement. So click the down like button as well. That also tells me that you would like to see something else. Please like and subscribe. Please share the information. I really do appreciate all your support. Have a great week, guys. Take care. Peace.